guys, it's Miss Hummelby here. I hope that you enjoyed your spring break, and it is now time for us to get started with Chapter 10 of Sideways Stories from Wayside School. Chapter 10, Paul. Paul had the best seat in Mrs. Jewell's class. He sat in the back of the room. It was the seat that was the farthest away from Mrs. Jewell's. Mrs. Jewell was teaching the class about fractions. She drew a picture of a pie on the board. She cut the pie into 8 pieces. She explained that each pie was 1/8 of the pie. Paul never paid attention. He didn't see the picture of the pie. He didn't see anything. Well, he did see one thing. Actually, he saw 2 things. He saw Leslie's 2 pigtails. Leslie sat in front of Paul. She had 2 long brown pigtails that reached all the way down to her waist. Paul saw those pigtails, and a terrible urge came over him. He wanted to pull a pigtail. He wanted to wrap his fist around it, feel the hair between his fingers, and just yank. He thought it would also be fun to tie the pigtails together, or better yet, tie them to her chair. But most of all, he just wanted to pull one. Slowly, he reached for the one on the right. No! What am I doing? He thought. I'll only get into trouble. Paul had it made. He sat in the back of the room. He paid no attention to anyone, and nobody paid any attention to him. But if he pulled a pigtail, it would be all over. Leslie would tell on him, and he'd become the center of attention. He sighed and slowly withdrew his arm. Do you guys think Paul is making the right decision? Or do you think that he's going to be urged to make a wrong decision? Let's see. Let's keep reading. But Paul couldn't ignore those pigtails. There they were, dangling right in front of him, just begging to be pulled. He could close his eyes, but he couldn't make the pigtails disappear. He could still smell them and hear them. He could almost taste them. I don't know if hair tastes good, guys. If that's your opinion, that's your personal opinion, but the fact that he can almost taste them, it's a little strange. Let's see what happens. Maybe just a little tug, he thought. No, none. There they hung, easily within his reach. Well, let them hang there, thought Paul. It would be foolish to pull one, no matter how tempting they were. None of the other children in the class pulled pigtails. Why should he? Of course, none of the other children sat behind Leslie either. It was just a simple matter of being able to think clearly. That was all. Paul thought it over and decided not to pull one. It was as simple as that. I think Paul's making the right decision, guys. Suddenly, his arm shot forward. He grabbed Leslie's right pigtail and yanked. Yeah! Screamed Leslie. Everybody looked at her. Paul pulled my pigtail, she said. They all looked at Paul. I couldn't help it, said Paul. You'd better learn to help it, said Mrs. Jewell. She wrote Paul's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Tell Leslie you're sorry. I'm sorry, Leslie, said Paul. Said Leslie. Paul felt horrible. Never again would he pull another pigtail. Except there was one problem. He still wasn't satisfied. He had pulled the right one, but that wasn't enough. He wanted to pull the left one too. It was as if he heard a little voice coming from the pigtail saying, Pull me, Paul, pull me. I can't, Paul answered. My name's already on the blackboard under the word discipline. Big deal, said the pigtail. Pull me. No way, said Paul. Never again. Oh, come on, Paul. Just a little tug, urged the pigtail. What harm could it do? Lots of harm, said Paul. Leslie will scream and I'll get in trouble again. Oi, that's not fair, whined the pigtail. You pulled the right one, now it's my turn. I know, but I can't, said Paul. Sure you can, said the pigtail. Just grab me and yank. No, said Paul, it's not right. Sure it is, Paul, said the pigtail. Pigtails are meant to be pulled. That's what we're here for. Tell that to Leslie, said Paul. Leslie wouldn't mind, said the pigtail. I promise. "I bet," said Paul, "just like she didn't mind the last time." "You just didn't pull hard enough," said the pigtail. "Leslie likes us pulled really hard." "Really?" asked Paul. All right, guys, something doesn't seem right here. Pigtail talking? Does hair talk? Do pigtails actually talk? Who do you think is actually talking to Paul? Is it the pigtail or something else? You guys think about it. Let's keep reading. "Cross my heart," said the pigtail. "The harder the better." "Okay," said Paul. "But if you're lying, I promise," said the pigtail. Paul grabbed the left pigtail. It felt good in his hand. He pulled as hard as he could. "Yeah!" screamed Leslie. Mrs. Jules asked, "Paul, did you pull Leslie's pigtail again?" "No," said Paul. "I pulled the other one." All the children laughed. "Are you trying to be funny?" asked Mrs. Jules. "No," said Paul. "I was trying to be fair. I couldn't pull one and not the other." The children laughed again. "Pigtails are meant to be pulled," Paul concluded. Mrs. Jules just put a check next to Paul's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. But at last, Paul was satisfied. True, his name was on the blackboard with a check next to it, but that really didn't matter. All he had to do was stay out of trouble the rest of the day, and his name would be erased. It's easy to stay out of trouble when you have the best seat in class. In fact, Paul could do this every day. He could pull Leslie's pigtails twice and then stay out of trouble the rest of the day. There was nothing Leslie could do about it. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Leslie screamed, "Yeah!" Mrs. Jules circled Paul's name and sent him home early on the kindergarten bus. Nobody would believe that he hadn't pulled Leslie's pigtail again. Who do you think pulled Leslie's pigtail? I mean, she screamed, but there's no evidence that Paul did it. So who did it? Maybe we'll find out later in the book. On to chapter 11, Dana. Dana had 4 beautiful eyes. She wore glasses, but her eyes were so beautiful that the glasses only made her prettier. With 2 eyes, she was pretty. With 4 eyes, she was beautiful. With 6 eyes, she would have been even more beautiful. And if she had 100 eyes all over her face and her arms and her feet, why, she would have been the most beautiful creature in the world. But poor Dana wasn't covered from head to toe with beautiful eyes. She was covered with mosquito bites. Mrs. Jules picked up her yardstick and said, "Now it's time for arithmetic." "Oh no, Mrs. Jules," said Dana. "I can't do arithmetic. I itch all over. I can't concentrate." "But we have all kinds of arithmetic," said Mrs. Jules. "Addition without carrying, addition with carrying, and carrying without addition." "I don't care," cried Dana. "We have to," said Mrs. Jules. "Addition without carrying. Now stop carrying on." Dana whined. "I can't, Mrs. Jules, I itch too much. And I'm too thirsty," said DJ. "I'm too tired," said Ron. "I'm too hungry," said Terrence. "I'm too stupid," said Todd. Mrs. Jules hit her desk with her yardstick. Everyone stopped talking. Mrs. Jules said, "We're going to have arithmetic now, and I don't want to hear another thing about it." "But Mrs. Jules, I really do itch. I can't do arithmetic," Dana whined. "No," said Mrs. Jules. "Arithmetic is the best known cure for an itch." "How many mosquito bites do you have?" "I don't know," said Dana. "Over 100. First I try scratching one, but then another one starts to itch, so I scratch that one, and that one stops, and another one starts. So I scratch that one, and the itch moves down to another one, then it goes back to the first one. The itch just never stays in the same place. I just can't scratch them all." "What you need is a good strong dose of arithmetic," said Mrs. Jules. "I'd rather have calamine lotion," said Dana. "Remember, Dana," said Mrs. Jules, "mosquito bites itch, not numbers." "So what?" said Dana. Do you guys think Dana is being reasonable? Does she have a right to complain that she's itchy to Miss Jules and Miss Jules is just completely ignoring her? Let me know on Thursday. Mrs. Jules continued, "We'll just have to turn your mosquito bites into numbers." "I'm a mess." Dana moaned. Mrs. Jules began to turn the mosquito bites into numbers. How much is 3 mosquito bites plus 3 mosquito bites? She asked. Rondi raised her hand. 6 mosquito bites, she answered. How much is 6 mosquito bites minus 2 mosquito bites? Asked Mrs. Jules. 4 mosquito bites, said DJ. How much is 5 mosquito bites times 2? Asked Mrs. Jules. 10 mosquito bites, said BB. Very good, said Mrs. Jules. I still itch, Dana complained. I've got one more question, said Mrs. Jules. How much is 49 mosquito bites plus 75 mosquito bites? Take a minute to think. 49 mosquito bites plus 75 mosquito bites. Oh. No, wait. I might have it. Hold on. I have an answer. If you guys have the answer, you're going to let me know later, okay? Nobody raised a hand. Think, class, said Mrs. Jules. This is for Dana. Nobody knew the answer. Dana's itch began to get worse and worse. At last, Dana began counting her own mosquito bites. She counted 75 on one side and 49 on the other. Then she added them together for a total of 124 mosquito bites. 124 mosquito bites, Dana called. Very good, said Mrs. Jules. Dana had 124 mosquito bites, and none of them itched anymore. I'm still thirsty, said DJ. Can arithmetic do anything for that? I'm still tired, said Ron. I'm still hungry, said Terrence. I'm still stupid, said Todd. I'm glad we turned my mosquito bites into numbers instead of letters, said Dana. I could never spell mosquito. If you know how to spell mosquito, let me know on Thursday. That's where we're stopping today, guys. All right, I will do chapter 12 and 13 tomorrow. Love you. Can't wait to see you on Friday. Mwah. Actually, sorry. I said the wrong day. I can't wait to see you on Thursday. Love you guys. Bye.